Hello, welcome. The day has finally arrived. You are listening or watching the Tokel IDO live stream event. It's August 30 of 2021. My name is E. Giuliano, and I'm here with many fine people virtually. We have a great audience joining us, quite a crew. We've got Nutella here. Otto is behind the scenes making all of this happen in a media format for us to enjoy, live stream. And then if you're watching this recorded after the fact, welcome to everyone. That's right, the day is here. And we are counting down the Tokel IDO from AtomicDEX, Komodo platform, and all of the community members who are making this happen. There's so many to name, I wouldn't even know. But this is a great time in the advancement of Komodo platform and the technologies that have been worked on tirelessly day after day and continue to be so. This is just the beginning. It's the first time. We're not even there. We're counting down for the Tokel IDO. Who's going to get the first batch? Are you here for the early adopters NFT or whatever the prizes that we're going to be getting? Well, either way, I'm feel privileged, blessed, honored to be here with you all as emceeing this live stream event. And I want to thank Nutella and everyone else who has put this together for all of us to participate in. With that being said, we're going to have an interview with Nutella about Tokel, an overview, feature explanations, and then we'll have a developer showcase of the future of the future application features. Okay, sorry if that sounds like a bit of a tongue twister, but we're going to get a chance to see the app or to learn about it. It's a pre-recorded video. Also, the IDO itself is going to be happening, right? Well, what is an IDO? We're going to cover that. We're going to hear from CA333 with more information about AtomicDEX, Komodo platform, and more. And it's going to be great. And after that, it's going to be nearing the time for our famous IDO. So we're going to get a bit of a how-to, instructional on what will be happening and how we can take advantage of that. Yeah. Well, at this time, we are going to turn it over to Nutella and start asking some questions. Nutella, welcome. Thanks for being here. How's it going today?
Hey mate, yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, doing well. Nice and early morning for me, but very exciting times. I'm keen to share this experience with everyone here. So thanks everyone for coming along, and as you mentioned, thanks for everyone that put in the efforts to make this a reality. So very excited.
Indeed, we all are excited. So then let us quickly get into this. Maybe some of this information will be review for many of you listening, having read documentation, whatever you know about Tokel platform. We're going to take it from the basics. So the first question is, what is the Tokel platform?
Yeah, so as you said, people may have heard of this before, but the idea is to try and simplify it in a different way, maybe hear it in a different way, so people can truly understand the concepts and truly understand the project. So the Tokel platform is a dedicated token platform. So it's an independent blockchain that has a bunch of layer 1 blockchain features, and what that means is that to interact with, so to create, to trade, to buy, to sell, to send, all of that occurs on the blockchain. So even the decentralized trading mechanism. So there's a token DEX that's on chain. So that's quite different to how other platforms work. Along with that, we also have an all-in-one application. So the all-in-one application will showcase all the features that are on top of the blockchain itself. These features being the Tokel coin wallet, the token wallets itself, a token creation page, as well as the TokenDEX and an NFT marketplace. So this will be a proof of concept application, so that anybody can come along and utilize the features on the blockchain. The cool part about the whole platform is that it's as I've said, an independent blockchain that's using Komodo technology. So we've come from the Komodo ecosystem. Everybody that's a part of the project is from within the Komodo ecosystem, so very much a community-centric and incubated project. And we're going to try and keep it that way. We're going to try and really develop from within the community so that everybody has a sense of pride in the platform. And the Komodo technologies that's being used, we're working alongside the developers to improve and create on top of that, so that other people within the Komodo community can access that technology. So if there are other projects out there that want to use the features and technology that we have, but don't necessarily want to do it on our chain, then they have the option to use the Komodo smart chains and use that technology themselves. So we're giving back to the ecosystem as well. But as I said, the blockchain, so independent blockchain, has its own miners, has its own transaction, has its own Tokel coin. That also has layer 1 solutions for creating, buying, selling, exploring tokens and NFTs. So you have not only non-fungible tokens, but you've also got the fixed supply token. And what does that mean? A non-fungible token basically just has the supply of 1, whereas a fixed supply token can have a supply greater than 1. So that could be 2 or 1 million or 1 billion, however many you want. So that's basically a simplified overview of what is the token platform.
Okay, that is quite interesting. So do you want to talk a bit about, you mentioned a lot of detail there. Did you have something else to say about the features the Tokel platform offers?
Yeah. So the features that it offers, the cool part about it, or that I find interesting, is that they're all those layer 1 features, and what that means is that other things like other NFT marketplaces could come along and build on top of that technology. So we're going to offer the NFT marketplace from the all-in-one application, and we're going to do that in a super light way using Komodo's NSPV technology, which basically just means it's really, really quick. You don't have to download a full node, but we're going to offer that as a service so that people can actually see what an NFT marketplace could look like. But because it's a layer 1 solution, other like projects and other other NFT marketplaces could come along and build on top of those features. So they could actually build their own NFT marketplace, or we could white label our NFT marketplace application for other people to change up graphically or change features or however they want to change it. But they all
Interesting.
use the underlying layer 1 solution, which is really cool because we want to offer all these features, but we also want to incubate different projects and different marketplaces to come and build on top of our technology. And like AtomicDEX, if people aren't aware, there's multiple versions of AtomicDEX out there, but they all use the underlying order book. That is the Market Maker 2 software order book. And the same with the Tokel platform is that everybody could be using the same token order book, but just have a different interface that they connect from, and potentially different features through those different interfaces.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is great. I mean, there's a lot of hype and fervor around the NFT space, specifically around art. And maybe in the next question, you'll be able to give us even a better idea of who could use the Tokel platform, maybe not just artists, but in the sense of art. And now thinking about art being disrupted through this whole NFT and blockchain situation, I can imagine when you talk about white labeling, I can imagine Sotheby's or whomever else, I don't know names of things, but they might decide that they're going to have their marketplace, and that's the art that they're going to be dealing with and selling it along, blockchain style. So quite interesting times. And, then you can talk about how easy it might even be to tokenize that art. And that's, wow, I'm starting to get ahead of myself maybe. So who could use the Tokel platform then? Artists
Yes.
and then maybe more?
Yes, as you've hinted at, artist is definitely massive in this space at the moment, and it's a really good introduction into the usage of non-fungible tokens and how non-fungible tokens can represent the ownership over something, whether it's a digital asset like a piece of digital art, or if it's a piece of physical art or a piece of physical and like anything physical asset, whether it's somebody's been talking about shoes lately, or if it's a car, or if it's a house or whatever, they could all be turned into non-fungible tokens, because all a non-fungible token does is prove ownership over a specific thing, and that specific thing is written into the data on the blockchain for that specific token, and it can't be changed. So that's like immutable information stored on the blockchain that anybody can access. So who can actually use that feature? A wide variety of different people, starting off with digital artists, where they can create digital artwork and provide a proof of ownership over that digital artwork, which has never been done before, prior to NFTs becoming popular within the cryptocurrency ecosystem.
Okay. And so following
Other
up on, oh, did you want to say that? Okay, you can keep going then. I just wanted to follow up with that about how they might use the features. But if you had something else more to say on that, I apologize for interrupting you there.
Yeah, no dramas. Yeah, so the other people that could use it are businesses. So as I kind of said there with the cars, like a car manufacturer could use the Tokel platform to store data about each vehicle that they're producing. So I've mentioned it before that instead of having a vehicle identification number, that vehicle identification number could be the token ID stored on the Tokel blockchain. So if somebody wanted to look up, whether that car was legit and had the same paint job, had the same chassis, had the same engine as it came out of the factory, they can look up on the blockchain and see that the car, potentially has a different color. Then they can start asking questions like, well, it came out of the factory with like blue shine, but now it's red. So what's happened there? So they can, look for that immutable data, use that, use NFT and token technology to keep track of their vehicles, and potentially transact in a decentralized fashion in the future. Other use cases, you have ticketing venues. I've spoken to that use case prior. You have ownership of real world items, as I've kind of spoken about with the housing. So you could NFT a house. So you could create a house, and in the documents that say who owns the house, you could then write the token ID of that specific house that you've created on the blockchain. And then whoever has ownership over that token ID has ownership over their house. And then what you can then do is you could then create another token that has a supply of 1,000, and that token represents the ownership over the NFT. So then you can basically divide that single NFT up into 1,000 different portions, and whoever has ownership over each of those 1,000 different portions that are fungible with each other has ownership over that. And potentially you can think about revenue sharing mechanisms through that, splitting up or shares of that house, basically. So there's a whole bunch of different use cases. I've also heard use cases for token technology, like community gardens. So, people that want to create community spaces can all put their funds together and basically say, all right, we're going to create this token, we're going to put all our funds together based on however much you input divided by the total supply. That's how many tokens you get. And what happens is everybody puts their money in, they create this beautiful garden, and then in order to use the garden, you have to pay tokens to enter. But then people that receive the tokens from the people entering are those that own it. So the funds go back to the people that originally, created the gardens or purchased the gardens. On that as well, you could use part of the entry fee or however you want to call it, in order to upkeep the gardens, so that nobody has to upkeep the gardens. And the more people using the gardens, the more revenue it's generating, and then the more upkeep you can pay for and that sort of thing. So it comes around to the ownership mentality. You own, you have ownership over the things you use, and I really love that concept of being able to truly own the things you use. So if you want to use a community garden and you want to upkeep a community garden, then it's in your best interest to actually have ownership over that. And with token technology, you can do that. So although artists can use the Tokel platform and create and provide ownership over the digital art, there's a huge and wide variety of use cases and businesses that could use our technology.
Wow. Yes, indeed. And this is all fascinating. You're already giving me crazy ideas over here. I mean, crazy is just a word there. Not, but maybe I am going a little mad listening to all this interesting technology you've got going on. So how do they use these features then?
Yeah, so at the moment, anybody can access them via the command line interface using a Tokel full node. For those that aren't super swept up on blockchain technology, we're trying to aim to have the application complete by the end of the year, and basically that'll give everybody access in a really easy, super light fashion to go and use all these features. The application is basically going to be that proof of concept showcase of all of the underlying features that are already ready and able to be used on the blockchain.
All right, we have a bit more to go here with some of these questions. We have also, you mentioned a Tokel coin, TKL. What does that do?
Yeah, so the Tokel coin, the fundamental use case of the Tokel coin is to create tokens. So for each Satoshi of Tokel coin, you can create one token. So you can create an NFT. So for one TKL coin, you can create 100 million tokens. So say you wanted to create a token that has a supply of 1 billion for, a Giuliano coin, you would then have to have 10 TKL coin to then create 1 billion tokens. Basically, the TKL coin is turned into a token during that process, and that's an irreversible process that you can't then get that TKL coin back once it's turned into a token. It is then a token for the life of the blockchain.
So it's like a ball of wax, and then you change it up into its form, and then that's what it's going to be for its life.
Yeah. So the way the token technology works is they're called smart UTXOs. So the way the Komodo ecosystem works is instead of having smart contracts, we actually have smart UTXOs, and each UTXO is then managed and turned into something different and managed by the consensus mechanisms differently. Which is why it goes through that process, and then it'll remain a token for the life of the blockchain.
Alrighty, this is great. And we have a few more questions. You just kind of described how you make a token. And I think I definitely want to get to that final question for the community. But I'll ask one intervening question here. These are good though. We've got a few. Okay, let's just take them in order here. What differentiates Tokel from any other NFT platforms? If you can give us that one quickly.
Yeah. So as I mentioned earlier, that we're not just an NFT platform, NFT marketplace or platform. We offer more than just NFTs. So you can create fixed supplies, and each NFT or each token can have exactly the same features associated with it. So you're not required to just create NFTs. You can create fixed supply tokens. We also, protected by delayed proof of work. We have NSPV technology, which a lot of people probably don't understand, but it is a huge leap forward for blockchain technology as a whole. It'll enable video game companies to quickly and seamlessly interact with blockchain and get blockchain data and broadcast blockchain data like really, really, really quickly. So they don't have to have, running a full node, or you don't have to rely on centralized servers to get that data. You can just interact with the blockchain immediately. So they're some of the big things that differentiate Tokel.
Amazing, beautiful. And I want to just move over to the question about where do you see the Tokel platform in 1, 5, and 10 years time? You just kind of gave a hint towards, future potential. If you're saying it's this fast, maybe you might speak towards video games, because obviously people are very much into games, and how these tokens might interact with the game within the games using this NSPV, or wherever you want to take this. But where do you see it in 1, 5, 10 years time?
Yeah, so in a year's time, I see us giving access to everybody to go and use the technology that's available. So the primary goal for us within the year timeframe is to get that application feature complete and then polish it off so that people can use it in a simple, fast, secure manner. That's the 1 year timeframe. For the 5 year timeframe, it's really about growing the community and growing projects that are utilizing the technology associated with it, and then also developing on top of that technology. So what I mean by that is the underlying blockchain tech. We want to, create more features, and we want to input more features into the ecosystem based on what the community is after. And then also having, video game companies create, video games that have NFTs within their video game that is stored on the Tokel blockchain, or having, businesses create tokens on the Tokel blockchain and providing them with mobile applications where they can quickly and easily interact with it. Like they're not even interacting with blockchain tech, but they have the ability to do that in a decentralized peer-to-peer fashion. So that'll be the target audience for the wider 5-year kind of time frame. And then 10 years from now, like complete guess, who knows where we're going to be. We want to remain as flexible as we possibly can be, but it's really about incubating that ecosystem that develops within itself. So providing all of the seamless support, documentation, software development kits. We have multiple projects and other platforms that build within Tokel technology. That's kind of the big future goal. So that I see.
Sounds good. Okay, very nice. And now you did hint at it about the incubating. So how can the community become involved and engage in this progression of the platform? And maybe you might want to also mention where they can find the most up-to-date information.
Yeah, so I'd say to the community, the biggest way to get involved and help out is to use the technology. So start creating it. Go on, learn how to download the Tokel test coin at the moment. If you can't do that, then potentially wait for the application or use the application and show it to people. Say, hey, like I've created my own token. How cool is that? Like that was so easy. That is the biggest thing I can see for the community is to just use the technology that's available. And then as soon as you do that, you'll understand how easy it is, how simple it is, how quick it is. And then from there, you start to really, think about those ideas of like, oh, I could actually do this, I could do that. And that's where, you then come back to the Discord or the ecosystem and say to people like, hey, I've got an idea. And then other people are like, oh yeah, I'll help you out with that. And it grows from there. So I'd just say, just use the technology, use the TKL coins that you're going to get to actually create and transact on the blockchain and create tokens and transfer them to your friends and show people the technology that's available. And then what was the last question there? How to
most up-to-date information. Where can we find that?
Yeah, so definitely the Discord is the biggest community that we've got at the moment. So I'd definitely point people in that direction. So that's just discord.tokel.io. And then on our website, so just tokel.io is your best bet there. You can also follow our Twitter for more up-to-date information as well.
All right, thank you so much, Metallica. Appreciate that session of questions and answers. And hopefully that at least answers enough information to get you all going. I'm seeing quite a nice audience here, and so thank you everyone for joining. I can see that you must be very excited and interested in this aspect, Tokel platform. So we're going to move on to some videos. We've got coming up the IDO overview, sorry. I'm sorry. I've messed up the order. My bad. First, we've got a developer showcase, right? I had mentioned it earlier, the tongue twister. So we're going to check out the future application features video. So we've got Otto behind the scenes. As always here, so much work put in behind the scenes. Thank you, Otto, for doing this. And pardon me, we're going to roll over to that video now for those future application features.
Hi everyone, I'm Daria, and I work in the development side of Tokel. I work on the GUI, collaborate with Komodo team, create designs, and give overall direction to the development side of the house. I'm going to introduce our Tokel all-in-one application to you. First, I'll mention the underlying concepts and why we work with NSPV. Then, I'll show you the current application version. I'll finish with a showcase of a few coming designs of the app. The all-in-one Tokel application is an open-source Electron-based application which uses NSPV and crypto conditions libraries in order to communicate with the blockchain and perform transactions. Currently, the first version of the Tokel app is available for download from our GitHub. You can also find the link on our website, tokel.io. This version includes the Tokel coin wallet. After downloading it, you can create yourself a new address by clicking Generate New Address. Once you have done so, make sure to store your WIF and seed phrase securely so you can use it to log in, see your balance, and transfer and receive Tokel coins. The best thing about this wallet is that it runs locally on your machine without any third-party involvement. That is possible because we use NSPV. NSPV is a lightweight node which allows us to securely communicate with the network and sign transactions locally before we broadcast them. NSPV does not require syncing the whole chain, but only block headers, hence making it fast and very light. It uses notarizations as a verified block hash, and those are backed up by the hash power of the proof of work chain, in our case Litecoin. That allows for only about 10 headers to be enough to get full confirmation on a specific unspent transaction output. NSPV communicates with full nodes to receive blockchain data. It chooses random nodes from the network, so it's hard to guess which node will be serving information. The current version of Tokel application runs using NSPV-C binaries. The new version will use wasm-compiled crypto conditions library and a JS implementation of NSPV, which was created by Komodo. The move to the JavaScript implementation is pretty exciting, as it means close collaboration with Komodo team on creating better tools for developers. You can learn more about NSPV from a few articles written by its creator. I linked them in a Tokel app GitHub README. Currently, we're working on the next release, which is the token wallet. With this release, you'll be able to send and receive any token created on the Tokel blockchain. Each token created on the Tokel blockchain follows the Tokel standard data format. You can find more information at docs.tokel.io. Here's the first draft of what the Tokel NFT marketplace could look like. The marketplace will be interconnected with AtomicDEX, and you can bid on the items you like straight away. You'll be able to search by token IDs and token names, browse newly created NFTs, and offer your NFTs and tokens for sale. All of these designs will evolve with the project and possibly change in the future. Any ideas or feature requests are welcome. The next big release milestones are token creation page, NFT marketplace, and on-chain DEX for tokens created on Tokel blockchain. All these features are already enabled on the Tokel blockchain. The release is for the app to support features by providing an easy-to-use GUI for them. We're aiming to be feature complete by the end of the year. If you're interested to learn more about the Tokel all-in-one application, feel free to download it and try it out yourself. Check out our website and documentation at tokel.io and docs.tokel.io. If you have any questions, please reach out to us in Discord. Thank you for your attention.
All right then. So that was a pre-recorded video with the future application features. And we're just going to go right into the CA333 interview with Nutella about AtomicDEX and IDOs. So Otto, when you're ready, we're just going to swing over to that IDO overview with CA333.
I'd like to thank Caden Stadelman and welcome him, otherwise known as CA333, for joining me to provide an insight into the AtomicDEX application and help us all learn about what an IDO is. So welcome.
Hey, thanks. Thanks for having me.
For those who don't know who you are you able to give us a bit of an understanding and a bit of your background and what your position is within the Komodo team?
Sure, absolutely. So I've been heading up Komodo for the last couple of years, specifically in terms of tech and tech strategy. My background is pretty much IT, right? The cyber world, that's where I grew up. That's like my super focus. And I'd say like I keep like a hard focus, like specifically on security, cybersecurity, right? Threat mitigations, etc., right? Implementing like countermeasures, analyzing, threat and designing threat models, analyzing like certain like threat surfaces and attack surfaces, etc. And I believe like this area is also like what we, or basically our whole industry, should put the main focus on. If we look at like recent events in the past, then we all understand, right, that security is like the main pillar of like the crypto industry. And yeah, this is like pretty much my background, what I've been doing, and I've been like here with Komodo for the last like 6 years now. So yeah, exciting
awesome
times are ahead and super happy.
definitely. Thanks for that. So we'll kick off the questions then. The first question that some people may be wondering is what is AtomicDEX?
So in simple words, okay, I'll try to keep this one like simple and as little like technical details as possible.
Yeah.
But I'd say AtomicDEX is like our and or the third generation cross-chain and a cross-protocol DeFi platform, or maybe in a short word, like third generation DEX. This is like the third iteration of this technology. We've been working on this like for quite some time. That's like now over half a decade. And this AtomicDEX iteration, I think the main benefits and the biggest advantages are that it comes like as a mobile and IoT ready like a protocol and technology framework. So you're able to use this tech, which provides like this cross-chain and cross-protocol like trading capabilities on mobile phones, on any kind of like ARM-based device, right? Like Raspberry Pis and all these IoT devices. I mean, technically, even like my fridge or my smart TV could run AtomicDEX now, and that's like basically the big sales argument for me. Also in terms of like security, I mean, this is a full like a non-custodial wallet interface, right? So this tech is decentralized, it is trustless, it's consisting like of a pure peer-to-peer network. And this is AtomicDEX, right? In one sentence, it enables parties, right, to trade freely, you know, independently and in a trustless fashion.
That's awesome. So I guess to summarize, we've got the cross-chain, cross-protocol, decentralized trading mechanism, as well as a non-custodial multi-coin wallet in there. So you can trade directly from your non-custodial wallet. So you own the private keys throughout that trading process. That's pretty cool. How does AtomicDEX relate back to Komodo then?
Sorry, can you repeat that question?
Yeah. So how does AtomicDEX relate back to Komodo? So
okay, so
yeah,
I'd say that AtomicDEX does like kind of represent, right, and project like our vision of ultimate freedom, of ultimate financial freedom, right? And I'm certain it does provide the technical means for such ultimate liberty in terms of like, you know, financial world and etc. AtomicDEX, I mean, we all know, like, since it's like decentralized, it's trustless, it's non-custodial. It means it doesn't discriminate anyone, right? It doesn't limit like network access, right? I mean, it's open source, it's freely available, it's permissionless. Like anyone can join it, anyone can use it, it's free. So the tech itself and, you know, taking these factors like in consideration means that AtomicDEX does indeed stand for freedom, and we, like Komodo, we stand for freedom, right? So that's like the main value we all identify with, and I'd say that's also how AtomicDEX relates to Komodo.
Yeah, that's
that
awesome. Yeah, no, that definitely does. I guess it's a very philosophical way to answer the question, and I appreciate that. And moving on to the actual how-to then. So how does AtomicDEX work? What is the back end, and then simply how does it work for people that want to actually use it?
Okay. So the non-custodial wallet part, right? So I always look at AtomicDEX with like kind of two layers, right? We do have like the DEX layer, that part which handles like the trading, right? This cross-chain and cross-protocol like DeFi stack. And then we have like the wallet interface, the wallet API, basically the non-custodial multi-coin wallet part, right? So they both utilize state-of-the-art technology, right? They use native blockchain connections. So AtomicDEX does indeed like communicate with the blockchains that it does support, right? And that's like a huge list of different second and third generation protocols. And from a DEX perspective, it does use so-called HTLC tag, that's like hash time locked contract technology. And if I had like to explain you that in kind of like basic terms, right, not non-technical terms, so that anyone understands it, it's basically a special type of transaction, right, which enables you to add like conditions, right? So certain conditions have to be met in order for a transaction to become actually spammable, right? So in further terms, right, if we like explain how an atomic swap works, right, then HTLC is the answer. For various second and third generation protocols, AtomicDEX does also use smart contracts, actually, which kind of like cover this HTLC functionality, or basically sort of like mirror that technology like over to like smart contract based protocols such as like Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain, because they don't have like certain elements of like UTXO based protocols or coins such as like Bitcoin, Litecoin, right? So this is how we basically solved it to also like provide this like wide like ecosystem support and compatibility in terms of supported tokens and coins, right? I mean, it's a huge list. It's like 99% of all coins and tokens listed on CoinMarketCap are supported by AtomicDEX, right? And it is because we do use this like low-level native core crypto technology, such as these hash time locked contracts. Hash time and a hash locked and time lock, what does it mean? So time lock, for example, is if you'd like basically add a timestamp to a transaction, and that will basically say, don't allow the recipient to spend it before this time is reached, right? A hash lock, on the other hand, means before you're able to spend this transaction, a certain data needs to be published on the blockchain, right? That's like the underlying basis for this like conditional like cross-chain atomic swap, right? When I trade with you, when let's take an example, let's say I try like to swap, like a Komodo for like a Tokel. What will happen is basically when you send me the Tokel, right? Let's say like I'm the maker and you're the taker. Let's say you're the maker, I'm the taker. Let's say you provide actually like the liquidity to the network, and I'll just like take it. I'll buy the token from the network, right? So what will happen is basically that the network, the blockchain network, knows like on a protocol level that once I receive the coins from you, I'll not be able to spend them before I paid you, and vice versa, right? This is a both direction path. This is like a mutual agreement on the blockchain. You also won't be able to spend like my payment unless I actually have the proof that I received the token that I paid for, right? So this is like how this like technology like works, and I think like the most exciting aspects, in this technology stack, it's specifically in terms of security, is that this prevents scams, right? This prevents, someone, not holding up like to the agreement and trying, like to scam you, etc. This is something that's like precluded with blockchain technology based like cross-chain atomic swaps, right? I mean, there are certain attacks still possible, but it would be like very costly. In most cases, it wouldn't pay off. It would turn it like non-lucrative for the attacker. So this is like how AtomicDEX works and basically the underlying technology.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was an awesome deep dive into how it works. So I guess from the overview, you've got the two massive features. You've got the ability to not only hold 99% of coins in existence, but you also have the ability to trade it in that non-custodial, like trustless fashion using this HTLC tech, as you mentioned. So just on that,
Exactly.
You said these set conditions must be met in order to enable the transactions to be spendable. So what happens if those conditions aren't met? Say during a trade, somebody doesn't send the coins. What occurs at that point?
Okay, so what happens then is there is like a time limit, right? There is a so-called timeout, and if after certain time, if after a few hours, such such a trade is not like completed, and one of the parties doesn't like hold up to the promise, the network will just like automatically refund the coins to the party that basically did the first part of the transaction. Now,
awesome.
in this case, in this case, it's basically you never lost actually control over your funds, right? Just like on the UI level, it looks like they're locked and you can't spend them now, and they indeed are, right? But they are locked, right? They are locked by the means of these like HTLCs, so no one can really like scam you. And after that timeout, is reached, your coins will just like be back on your wallet.
In
And
your
if
own
you
wallet.
did it like yeah, exactly, you'll have them back, right? You can, it's like a manual process, but you own the private key. You basically sign the transaction and you have them back, but it's like automated on GUI level, so it's like super smooth experience. Yes.
Yeah, that's great to know. That's you know, I've definitely learned something there, so I appreciate that. And with that understanding of how AtomicDEX works and the different, you know, the different things people can do on AtomicDEX, can you explain what an initial DEX offering is? So an IDO, what is an IDO, and then also how AtomicDEX facilitates IDOs?
Sure. So IDO, I actually always like, when someone asks me like, what's an IDO? I just like say, look, it's basically a DICO. It's like an ICO, but adding the D means making it like decentralized, trustless, you know, permissionless, conducting it through a DeFi or DEX technology stack, right? In our, you know, specific case, it means that the DEX network, right, will be the place where, you know, the IDO token or coin is being offered to the investors. So the investors would basically buy the IDO token or coin through the DEX network, right? So the IDO provider or holder will simply just like put up a market listing, and the investors will just like buy them. So it's just like a usual maker taker, you know, a trading schematic, like in a usual like DEX trade. However, in this specific case, you usually have like one big order, right? There won't be like a huge, you know, spread order big normally, unless someone buys an IDO token and tries to sell it cheaper afterwards. But we all know we shouldn't like, you know, buy high and sell low. We should do it like the other way around to make profit. So that's something that's usually like precluded as a risk. So you usually have like one big order by the IDO provider, and that market listing is basically the IDO.
On the open order
Exactly.
book, and you hinted at it there that that people will still be able to trade, so they could actually in fact purchase from the IDO and then undercut the IDO in a sense, but losing money during the process. So people are still able to freely trade during that process. How do you think that
Yes.
would affect the outcome of IDOs on AtomicDEX? Do you think it would have a negative or a positive or a neutral effect?
I think it has a very positive effect because it highlights it. It literally underlines, you know, the liberty, you know, aspect we discussed earlier, right? No one has control over what's happening on a DEX network, and so no one has also control like during an IDO, right? I mean, it is expected, but that's just like our expectation according to common sense and logical user and investors behavior, that if someone, you know, like as an investor participates in an IDO and he buys the token, he won't sell it cheaper, right? Right after, or even like during the IDO. So, and if that party did, I mean, it's something super exciting actually, right? I mean, imagine there's an IDO going on. People like investors, like IDO hunters, will be waiting for these parties putting up cheaper orders because that means insta profit. So I even think it wouldn't be something bad if someone tried that, right? But like from a tech perspective, I think it's like something like super exciting using a DEX DeFi network for such like an initial like product or like coin or token offering. Because it does use like this DEX technology, and it means this is like permissionless, right? As of today, if you try to participate in an IPO and etc., I mean, certain you know, members of certain states, certain humans, etc., aren't allowed, right? Because there's like some legislation, some jurisdictions say no to them, right? And an IDO, a DEX network, it's a technology that's not regulatable, right? We don't have any power over it. It's like the web. It's like the web. It's like the World Wide Web. It's like the internet itself. You can like the internet providers, the ISPs, the DNS providers. I mean, they have this all up and running and provide the infrastructure, but at the end of the day, they do not really like control what's going online. They can only retrospectively ban something, close something, you know, censor something. But you know, putting it initially up, etc., it's not regulated, right? I mean, that's something that's probably coming. But with a DEX network, I think this is like the most exciting aspect of it, like of the IDO itself, and that it's using a DEX is this extreme level of liberty and freedom. So that brings us back like to the freedom aspect of earlier.
Yeah, definitely. No, that was a great answer there. And then my final question is, how do AtomicDEX IDOs differ from the likes of IDOs that are conducted on Uni, Pancake, or Sushi Swap?
Okay, so with SushiSwap, Uniswap, on all these so-called AMMs, right? I mean, there have been like really super interesting analyses, and I won't go too deep into it, but just like on we scratch a bit on the surface is that, and that might be a bit political, but these protocols operate in a Ponzi scheme, right? That's something that's been undisclosed. That's something that's known now. And besides that, so basically one of the like core, schematics of this protocol functionality is already like negative in my opinion. But then we also have like to look at the aspect of interoperability, right? These automated like market making and automated liquidity protocols, I think the biggest negative in terms of like tech from my perspective is, besides like the security issues we've seen in just very recently, is that they operate in a closed ecosystem, right? They provide support and protocol compatibility with a very limited range of coins, or not even coins, tokens actually, right? That look, Uniswap, for example, would mean like it's ERC20. It's limited to this like ecosystem. You're bound by the crazy transaction fees. You're limited by the number of coins that, or the number of cryptocurrencies that you could actually use in this ecosystem. And on the other hand, AtomicDEX, first of all, it's the tech itself doesn't operate like an AMM or an ALP. It is interoperable with a wide variety of second and third generation protocols, and that does actually also include ERC20, BP20, SLP, and so on. And we have like a list of like other coins that are coming. Our DEX team right now is working on Lightning network support, right? Means like enabling users at a certain point of time to trade through a LAN, means reducing time and cost of a transaction or a trade to an absolute minimum, right? These are all benefits which you won't have on Uniswap, you won't have on Sushi and Cream and whatever like other like platforms are up, right? So if you're like a Bitcoin OG and you have only Bitcoins, you are not able to participate in such an IDO. You'll be discriminated just because you don't hold any ERCs or BPs.
Awesome. That was an absolutely fantastic answer. We'll call it there. But just to highlight for everyone, AtomicDEX has two massive features. You can not only hold, but you can also trade 99% of the coins that are out there in that non-custodial, trustless fashion. There's some awesome tech behind it. Appreciate you coming on to explain that to us. So thanks for your time.
Thank you so much for having me, and yeah, I'm super excited and can't wait for the Tokel IDO. Thank you, Nutella.
Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you, Otto, for showing us that video, and thank you, CA333, for that interview. It's always nice to hear from CA333 about AtomicDEX Komodo platform. Yes, and I quickly spun away from Daria's video, the developer showcase, but there's just a lot going on here, and we're nearing the IDO start time, so I do not want us to wait any further. We are going to have a quick turnover now to a final video for this time frame here about the phase 1 price discovery overview and timeline, and the phase 2 main IDO overview and timeline. So Otto, we're going to go to that video right away. Thank you.
This video will give you an understanding of how the Tokel IDO will work on the AtomicDEX application. There is a total of 20 million Tokel coins being listed on the AtomicDEX decentralized exchange. These Tokel are being put up for trade to early adopters so that the community can start creating tokens and transactions on the Tokel blockchain. Tokal is a utility coin made for creators and users of the Tokal blockchain features. To participate, all you need to do is download the AtomicDEX application and get yourself some KMD coins. There are two main phases for this IDO, phase 1 being the price discovery phase, with phase 2 being the main IDO. The entire IDO will last for just over 2 weeks, starting on August the 30th at 8 PM UTC. Phase 1 will commence at the end of the IDO livestream and run for a total of 48 hours. The purpose of price discovery is just that, to find out the price of Tokal in the open market. Having a limited time period and limited supply speeds up what would otherwise be normal market conditions. This is because the price is a lot more sensitive to small buy and sell amounts. During this phase, 500,000 Tokal will be listed in a total of 50 separate offers. Each offer will consist of 10,000 Tokal and will start from 0.01 KMD and end at 0.402 KMD, increasing by 0.008 KMD each offer. The way this works is if you think Tokal is worth a certain amount and it is currently below that amount, then you would be incentivized to purchase all the orders up to that certain amount. If there are many orders below this amount, you may be able to purchase some cheap Tokal as you think the final price might be higher than it's currently priced at. You subsequently run the risk of overestimating the final price and having the main IDO at 70% of the price in which you last traded at. You do not need to participate in the price discovery. You can wait for phase 2, where all Tokal will be offered at a single price. Phase 2 will commence at the completion of phase 1. This phase is the main IDO phase, where the rest of the 19.5 million Tokal and any leftover from phase 1 will be offered for a single price. The main IDO will last for 14 days. The price that the Tokal will be offered at will be determined by the final price discovery price. The main IDO Tokal will be listed at 70% of the final phase 1 price. You are free to trade your Komodo and Tokal throughout this entire period. All trades conducted on AtomicDEX are done in a peer-to-peer decentralized fashion. This means that all trades are final and non-refundable. On completion of the IDO, any leftover Tokal will be kept and later distributed through other early adopter initiatives. It is important to know that Tokal is a utility coin solely used to create tokens and send transactions on the Tokal blockchain. There are no guarantees of Tokal's future value, and there should be no expectation that Tokal will generate value other than for the use case described. Please read the tokel.io/IDO website for all of the details.
Well, there you have it. We are less than 5 minutes away. We are minutes away from the beginning of the IDO. I hope you're all excited. Maybe your fingers are sweating a bit, trying to make sure that you get in on the order that you're looking at. Well, hoping that you all enjoy yourselves. I hope this has been an interesting experience so far for you. I mean, it's just another live stream with an audience, but with the anticipation of moving into this initial DEX offering from Tokel platform. We do have another video of how to use AtomicDEX for this purpose, but we're going to save that because this IDO is coming up really quickly now, and I want to bring back up Nutellalika here to just have a discussion about what we've been seeing, hearing about, anything that he thinks we should know. So Nutellalika, how's it going right now? How are you feeling with the clock ticking away?
Yeah, getting nervous, but definitely excited. It's an exciting time. I'm hoping everyone's enjoying the stream and learning a lot about the different aspects. And appreciate Daria creating that video for us. It's pretty early at her time, so she's sitting in the chat there. But I really enjoy that video, and as you could have seen from that, we've got some future designs already in place. It'll just be creating that within the application in the future. So looking forward to that. But yeah, the IDO is nearly here, and it's interesting. I've got AtomicDEX open here, and I'm just looking at all the orders that people have been placed, and there's a whole bunch of them in there. And I guess I'd just like to explain a little bit about how the IDO is going to occur. So as I've just previously mentioned in that video, basically there's going to be 50 total orders for the price discovery phase. This is just speaking specifically to the price discovery phase. The way that AtomicDEX order matching works is that we are going to place a market order up, which means that it won't fill the orders that are currently listed. What it will do is it'll just place a new order and then first come, first serve as to who takes that order. We won't be placing all 50 at once. We'll be placing one price amount at a time, and we'll be separating that up into 5 different amounts of 2,000 Tokel each. So for every order you place, you can do a maximum of 2,000 Tokel. So instead of one person being able to buy the entire 10,000, they'll have to go through one order, do 2,000, go through another order, do 2,000.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
Yeah.
Level out the playing field a bit with those people with fast fingers. Speaking of people, I'm seeing some incredible people here in this audience. Thanks all for being here. I would go through the whole list of names, but then we'd be late for the IDO, and I don't want that to happen to anybody. So yeah, this is incredible. So nice to see all of your avatars here. And yeah, I hope you're having a great time. So Nutella, is there any final thing we should really know before the IDO kicks off? It's going to happen any moment now.
Yeah, so people that want to participate in the IDO, they'll just have to look on the order book and wait for those orders to start populating. The way you'll see that is you'll see, the quantity will either be 2,000 or 10,000, depending on how many is left. And then when you, if you would like to purchase that order, then quickly click that and then go down, start the swap, and off you go. And then it's going to be faster and funnier, so we might not actually be able to see the orders populate there, but basically, as I said, first in, best dressed, but have your KMD ready and your Tokel ready. And just note that this is going to go over 48 hours. There's a total of 500,000 Tokels. So the intent of this 48 hours isn't to completely sell out of the 500,000 Tokel. The intent is to try and find a price that everybody's willing to pay for TKL, so that for the main phase, we can then reduce the price to 70% of the final price discovery price, and then people can get more there. So the idea isn't to completely sell out of phase 1, but find that middle price there.
Okay. And for those of us who might be very beginner, and we have our AtomicDEX up, maybe we are looking at it, we should have. Does it matter which side the Komodo and the Tokel is? People who might not be used to order books, what should they be making sure they do or don't do?
Yeah, so I think you just use it like normal atomic swaps, I suppose. So you just click the order and then make sure you have the right, you're putting the right amount of KMD price in there and the right amount of the volume of the Tokel. You'd hate to get that mixed up. So just double checking that. So as soon as you hit start swap, you'll be able to, it'll give you a screen that says, are you sure with all this information? And then you double check it, and then off you go, off to the races. So just making sure that you're putting in the right amounts there. It's kind of hard to tell here, but there's a bunch of orders currently being set and then quickly being grabbed up. The live stream, I'm trying to keep up with it, but it keeps changing quite rapidly. So there's a bunch of orders of 2,000 TKL. So as you can see, they'll populate, and then it looks like they're then disappearing, which basically just means that somebody's there purchasing that order. The way that we've set it up is that we'll do one offer at a time. So you'll see the 2,000 populate, and then once that entire 10,000 offer at that one price has gone, the next order will then appear, and then people can start interacting with those next orders. So at the moment, I'm looking, it looks like it's at 0.09 KMD. Those ones have just disappeared now. So it's hard to keep up with where we're at. But yeah, does that answer that question?
I think so. Yeah, this is quite interesting and exciting. See what goes on here. Are you trying your hand at it as well?
No, I'm just sitting here watching it all unfold and messaging people in the background, making sure everything's going smoothly. So it's keeping me busy. But no, definitely not. I'll leave that up to the community. I'm just here to try and help incubate this token platform as much as possible, and put my efforts towards doing that rather than participating in this. So hopefully people are enjoying this process. So.
Yeah, that's for sure. Definitely hope everybody's having a good time, and I mean, I'm imagining you're just feverishly trying to get your orders filled. So we do have more video, an explainer of how to use AtomicDEX for those of you who might want to watch that. So maybe this is a good time to take that video. So Otto, why don't we go there? Why don't we roll that video? All right, Natala, we're going to move over to that video, and then we'll come back with you for some more discussion. How does that sound?
Yeah, sounds good.
All righty. Otto, anytime you're ready, we'll move over to that video.
Hello, and welcome to this short tutorial video on how to make a trustless peer-to-peer atomic swap with AtomicDEX. Let's begin by opening up the application by selecting the AtomicDEX icon on the home screen. Now the app is open, and we will tap Create a Wallet to get started. We need to name our wallet. Let's just call it Test Wallet. At this point, the app will randomly generate a 12-word seed phrase. This seed phrase will act as a backup for the wallet we've just created. When you create your own wallet, make sure to write your seed phrase down correctly and store it somewhere safe. Okay, a few important security tips. Do not take screenshots of your seed phrase. Don't save your seed phrase electronically, like in a text file or in your email inbox, and never share your seed phrase with anyone. Okay, let's tap Next to move on. Now the app will ensure we've written our seed phrase down. We need to enter the 9th word in the phrase, which is fan. The 6th word, which is infant. And now the 3rd word, which is blue. We also need to create a password. For this tutorial video, we'll just use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0, capital A, lowercase a, exclamation point. But you should not use a password like this. Choose something long and completely random with uppercase and lowercase letters, numbers, and special characters. Now we must agree to the terms of AtomicDEX. Like all crypto wallets and exchanges, you're using AtomicDEX at your own risk. That's why it's so important to take security seriously. You can read this carefully when you use the app, but for now, we'll just quickly scroll to the bottom and check both boxes to accept the terms of service. Lastly, we need to create a 6-digit PIN. For security reasons, AtomicDEX does not show which numbers are tapped, so enter your PIN carefully. And now we confirm the PIN. It'll just take a moment for AtomicDEX to configure and load our new wallet. And here we are. We can see that Komodo and Bitcoin are listed by default, but it's possible to add more assets to our portfolio by tapping the plus sign in the middle of the screen. Here, we can see all the coins and tokens currently listed on AtomicDEX. Let's just select all of them to add all listed assets to our portfolio view. We tap Done, and it will just take a moment for them to be added. Now we're back on our portfolio view with all of the assets we just selected listed here. We can also adjust the settings of the app by tapping the Settings option at the bottom of the screen. We can see all the different settings options here. For this tutorial, let's activate Biometric Protection. This will allow us to log into AtomicDEX using the fingerprint scanner on the phone. It just adds an additional layer of security. We can test this feature out by closing AtomicDEX and heading to the home screen, and then reopening the application. We can see AtomicDEX is asking us to authenticate the fingerprint, which we'll do now. And we're back into the app on the settings screen. Let's navigate back to our portfolio, where we can see that we have 0 assets. Okay, we'll need some funds to make an atomic swap, so let's add some Komodo to our AtomicDEX wallet now. We start by tapping Komodo, and we can see that our only option is to receive KMD. That's exactly what we want to do. So we'll tap Receive, which will display our QR code and our Komodo address. We'll copy the address, and from a different wallet, not shown in this video, we will send 1.777 KMD to this address. And so now we see an unconfirmed payment of 1.777 KMD coming into the wallet. If we tap the transaction, we can view all of the details, like the sending address and the transaction ID number. It's unconfirmed because the network needs a minute to confirm that the transaction is valid. Okay, now the KMD has arrived in our wallet. If we navigate back to our portfolio view, we see that we have 1.777 Komodo for a grand total of $1.45 in our portfolio. Now that we have some funds, let's make our first atomic swap. Let's start by selecting the DEX tab at the bottom of the screen. Okay, this is what the DEX view looks like. We need to choose which coin we want to swap, so we tap Select Coin. And the only option is KMD, since that's all we have. We tap KMD, and now we need to choose how much we want to swap. We'll just tap the max option. We also need to select which coin we want to swap the Komodo for, and we can see all of the different options here. For this tutorial, let's go with Digibyte. There's an existing offer, so let's accept it. Now we can review the details of the swap. Then we just tap the Trade button. And we've officially initiated our first atomic swap. The first step is already complete, but since atomic swaps are fully decentralized and take place on-chain, they can take a few minutes to complete. We'll skip the video ahead just a bit to save time. We're back, and we can see that step 2 is now complete. And we'll skip ahead just a bit more to wait for the swap to be completed. And there we have it. Our first atomic swap is now complete. We can scroll down to see the details, including both the maker and taker transaction IDs. If you want, you can look these up on block explorers to verify if this was in fact a trustless cross-chain atomic swap. Back on the DEX tab, we can see that we have no existing orders. If we tap the history option, we can see the swap from Komodo to Digibyte we just completed. Finally, back on the portfolio view, the app will just take a moment to update our wallets. And now we see we have just over 148 Digibyte in our wallet. If we tap Digibyte, we see the details of the atomic swap we just completed. Back on the portfolio, we can tap Komodo to see our transaction history, including the first transfer, the DEX fee payment, and the atomic swap itself. And that's really all there is to it. We have the Digibyte we just swapped for sitting right here in our AtomicDEX wallet. We hold the private keys to our Digibyte, as well as any other coins and tokens we store in our AtomicDEX wallet. That's true because unlike ordinary centralized exchanges, AtomicDEX is a non-custodial, fully decentralized exchange. AtomicDEX is also asset agnostic, so you can trade between any two listed assets like we just did between Komodo and Digibyte. AtomicDEX is a groundbreaking application, so sign up for the beta test and start making your first atomic swaps now. Thanks for watching.
Welcome back.
All right, yes, welcome back. Well, there you have some more information on grabbing up some of these Tokel coins, right? Metallica, how are you enjoying this? You're watching this on the sidelines. What are your thoughts so far? You've been waiting for this day, preparing for this day for some time now, coordinating with a whole bunch of people. So how's it going for you so far? What's your first assessment?
That's been conducted on AtomicDEX, so it was a really cool process to come up with the how-to, and we got some really good advice from the Komodo team, and the likes of JL777. So that was awesome, and we tweaked the plan to make sense for us. And then there's so many considerations that you have to think about. And one thing that's popped up that people would have seen before is the slowing down of orders, and it got stuck at 0.114, and I believe that was to do with the slowing down of blocks. So if you look at the block explorer during this time, it's pretty interesting because there's a huge amount of transactions occurring on some of these blocks, and it's actually started to slow down the chain just based on the amount of atomic swaps that are occurring. But it looks like the orders are up and running now, and we're currently at 0.202 KMD, and they look like they've just been filled. So super exciting. Everything seems to be ticking along now, and I appreciate everyone for coming on and listening to the live stream. Again, I hope that people learnt something from it, and I implore people to go out there and utilize the coins the way that they're intended to be, and create tokens and send them to your friends to help them create tokens, and use the Tokel all-in-one application to see how quick it is. And we look forward to sharing more application releases with everybody in the future, and really start to bring in the community to try and help us develop and move forward as a platform. So we want to be able to take on the community's suggestions and feature requests and all those sorts of things. We really want to foster that ownership over the platform as a whole, as a community run project. So super excited.
Yeah, well, definitely congratulations so far. I'm very excited, and it's nice to hear also JL777 shouted out as being involved. It's good to know that, and I mean, comes with no surprise. He has been so instrumental in all of this, and so special shout outs over there. And shout outs to everybody over here in this Discord hangout. This is quite fun. I hope you're having a good time. Hope you've gotten some TKL for yourself and for your loved ones, so that you could play around with creating tokens. And let's see what we can do. Maybe within, I don't know, Nutella, like, I'm curious, after we get this Tokel, how long after this will it take? You mentioned we could already do it through command line interface. Is that correct? Is the all-in-one application ready for us to create? Or do you have a timeline for that, or what should we know about this getting started?
Yeah, so if people are familiar with running a full node, you can definitely go and do that. So you can run not only a Tokel full node, but a Tokel test node. So if you don't want to use actual Tokel, you can go run our Tokel test chain, which is a very similar chain to the main chain, and learn how to create them. So it's honestly, like, I'm not a developer at all. I've got a little bit of blockchain knowledge, and I've run full nodes and done some mining and stuff before, but it's honestly just a couple of commands in command line interface, and you can have your tokens and trade them and set buy sell orders. Like, all of that is feature complete on the blockchain already. And then if people want to learn more about that, they can go to our documentation. So that's just docs.tokel.io, and we have some easy to read and understand guides. So how to launch the main chain, and then also how to launch the Tokel test chain. And then there's also another guide in there that's how to create a token / NFT. If people want to follow that through, basically it's you decide on the name, supply, description, and then a bunch of Tokel standard data, like royalties, if you want to put royalty on the token, and then you fill in that single command, and then you copy and paste that into your command line, and then send that transaction to the blockchain, and then voila, you'll have the token in your wallet. For the application itself, as I mentioned earlier, trying to have that feature complete by the end of the year. That's the aim. But we're also going to be releasing the token wallet, as Daria mentioned earlier. We're going to be releasing the token wallet release of the all-in-one application over the next couple of weeks. So during the main phase of the IDO, you'll see a release for that. And what we're going to do is to get people to get the application and have a look at it. We're actually going to be giving out an early adopter token. So anybody that participates in this IDO will be receiving an early adopter token. So that'll occur sometime after the IDO when we've created that token. But basically, that'll appear in your token wallet during that token release, so that people can actually see what it looks like to have a token. and then potentially send that if they want to send that to somebody else. But that'll be only for people that are participating in the IDO orders. So any order placed by any of the offers that have been placed during either the price discovery or the main IDO, we're going to take note of all of those addresses, and then we're going to be sending out basically kind of like an airdrop. We're going to be airdropping this early adopter token to all of those people, just so you can see what it looks like. And it's a bit of a piece of digital memorabilia, which I think which is pretty cool. You'll be able to look back on that in the future and say, "Yep, I was there. I've got digital proof. It's been sitting in my wallet that entire time, hasn't been touched." You can look on the blockchain and see that. So that's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool, and definitely looking forward to seeing the application in action. If you haven't already downloaded from Tokel IDO, you can go and do that. And yeah, it's pretty soon you're going to have the same type of order book capabilities, and we're going to be able to trade the NFTs and the tokens and do all that kind of jazz, which is great. And so shout outs again to Daria and the rest of the team working on that application. It's definitely looking very beautiful. And so is the AtomicDEX. So if you're using AtomicDEX right now, maybe this is your first IDO, initial DEX offering. Well, I hope it feels good for you. This is definitely a different time in history, and you're participating in something which is relatively unique here. So that's quite fancy of you. So I can see a whole bunch of people here are probably grabbing up all of these Tokal. I really do wonder what will come of this. You mentioned Nutella that there will be some sort of price balancing or evening out phase, or what is the thought around that?
So the price discovery, the intent of it is to provide a small amount of liquidity to the open market where people can decide how much they want to pay within the confines of the amounts that we've listed on the website there. So the intent isn't to grab and fill your bags full of Tokel right now. The intent is to do that during the main IDO phase. But if you'd like to participate in this phase, then definitely do that. But if you'd rather hold off, participate in the main IDO phase, that's where a majority of the TKL will be listed, and basically so the liquidity for that. So there's only going to be 500,000 TKL listed for this price discovery phase, and then the main IDO phase will be 19.5 million. So if you miss out on purchasing at the price that you want during the price discovery phase, I'd recommend just holding off and participating in the main IDO phase, where the price will be 70% of final phase one price. So that's basically it.
Interesting. And so the total, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, is 100 or 200 million of Tokals. 200 million, isn't it?
So the max total supply is just over 200 million, but that'll be mined out over a period of about 50 years. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And people can see a bit of a graph on our Bitcoin Talk post if they want, but the pre-mine was 100 million, and then the total max supply will be 200 million.
Yes, excellent. Okay, in that sense, like Nutella said, so even if you don't participate at this time, if you participate in the main IDO, you still are going to be eligible for the memorabilia token. Is that correct?
Yeah, the early adopter token. Yeah.
Yes, early adopter token. Sorry, I forgot that name, but it's true. It is true. Everybody here who's involved, you definitely are early adopters. This is quite some technology that we've got under our fingertips. And once again, shout outs to the whole Komodo platform and all of the communities that participate in the development of these technologies. I see got Pirate Chain and Marmara Chain and Collider, and we've got so many others that are involved, and here we are with Tokel platform. So this is a great time for all of us. I hope that you're not going too crazy here with this IDO. Alrighty, so yeah. Nutella, how about we round this out? Is there anything else that you would like us to cover before we say goodbye to everyone?
Yeah, just I'll just say it again, I suppose. Like if people missed out on getting at the price that they were willing to pay during this price discovery phase, then I'd highly recommend just waiting for the main IDO rather than purchasing above the price that they're willing to pay. So obviously do your own research there, but there's going to be a chance to purchase cheaper Tokal during that main IDO phase. So highly recommend doing that. And I look forward to seeing everyone around the community and helping us, build a really, really cool platform that's got, so much potential. We are going to try our utter best to provide people with as many tools and options as possible. But in reality, a platform needs that community there in order to use it and try and help, utilize what's available and develop on top of it as well. So we're going to try our best to help everybody out, but we'd really love to see everybody around the community and join our Discord or our other socials, and we'll assist you as much as we possibly can.
Excellent. So calling all the artists and other token fanatics, we are ready for launch, or however you want to think about it, but maybe you can make an NFT of it. And that's going to be about it for this Tokel IDO event live stream. I hope you've had a good time. Thank you very much for being here, for joining us. A super special thank you to Otto behind the scenes, making all of this link together into one fine live stream for all of us to enjoy. My name is Giuliano, and I thank you again for being here. That's going to be it for today. Remember, I think Natalika made a good point, and I appreciate that. No FOMO. There's going to be a main IDO phase where you can more likely find the price that you think, but he says, do your own research. And again, none of this financial advice for any of you who might think otherwise. It's time to go for now. Goodbye, everyone. We'll see you around.
See ya.